Monster gloves are great for your look. You get to make them ahead of time so you can put all kinds of details into them, and you're not scrambling on the day of your event trying to apply something to your hands. Also, it can be easily removed so you have full use of your hands all throughout your event. I like to start this out with a thin cotton glove. For this set, we're going to make the fingers so they can be shaped and bent. But before that, just want to mark where the joints are going to be. Now, these are really thin, so I'm going to use a powder brush handle to hold the shape of the finger while I hot glue the aluminum wire. Gently roll the wire to coat the end with the glue. Once that's done, add some white foam clay to the wire. Now this is just a first layer, so it does not have to look pretty. While making this, I realized how much this looked like a Jack Skellington hand. Figures, because I just bought a pair of gloves for a Jack-inspired look. Anyway, first layer of foam clay is dry. Let's begin to shape the fingers. I'm also going to create some caps at the end of the actual fingers. This is going to help to stabilize the finger extensions. I'm going to smooth it into the glove and made some pointy pieces for the knuckles. The foam clay actually sticks really well to the cotton. You can add all kinds of different effects with using the clay. I'm going to grab some latex and go ahead and blend the clay edges into the glove. Also, the latex is going to make it so that the paint is not just going to be absorbed into the glove. I did a couple layers. As you might notice, I did not apply it to the palm. This is because latex is going to limit the flexibility, and I find it more comfortable just to leave this area alone. Using some cotton and latex to build up some areas on the top of the hands, and also to further blend those finger extensions to the rest of the glove. You can apply more latex over the areas to keep smoothing it if you find that you don't like the texture that the cotton may bring. Okay, so I've had this glove on the entire latex process. That means the latex has seeped through and now it's bonded to my skin. You're going to want to be careful removing it if you have done this also. Make sure everything is completely dry. Powder over the entire outside. I'm going to use a tongue depressor and carefully free my skin. Once you have got any areas that are stuck, now it should peel off nice and easy. Time to get painting. With any latex project, always start with the base color of 50-50 acrylic paint and Prosaide mix. Since there's areas of cotton on the palm, I did wear a nitrile glove, so any of that sticky paint mixture that soaked through is not going to leave me scrubbing my skin for the rest of the night. Starting with an orange base to coat the hand. This paint scheme was inspired by one of my favorite animals, the blue-ringed octopus. Created a darker orange and a red to fade it from the tips of the fingers into the hand. You may find that you want to dry the paint between layers because the color doesn't want to stick while you're sponging it on. Add a couple blotches to the palm just for some added texture. Now, eventually it ends up looking like a flaming hot Cheeto hand. Time to powder it and carefully pull it off because it did stick to that nitrile glove. Now you can see how messy my skin really could have ended up. I'm using Skin Illustrator for this. If these are currently out of your budget, do not worry. Feel free to keep using the acrylic paints. As long as you continue to keep cutting it with the Prosaide or apply a coat over everything after you're done painting, your project is going to come out just fine. Took the Nova Metallic palette and created a color fade using the Magic Bus Yellow, Phoenix Orange, and Hot Rod Red. Now the area without the latex is probably going to require more paint because as you can see, it's just kind of slurping all that paint up. Used a large Delium stipple brush and added more color onto the palm. This is also going to help it blend better into those brighter latex areas. Now a little stipple all over because we love texture. Skin Illustrator Mardi Gras palette, spatter some Jester Yellow, and then some dark Brune out of the Grunge palette. These colors are spattered pretty light since I don't want to dull the shine from the metallics. Okay, so along with these bright blue rings that these octopi or octopuses have, there is a dark ring with the blue. And this contrast is really what's going to make that blue pop off of that orange skin. Used the dark Brune and made some rings and bands around the fingers. Also added a couple dots and splotches. First figuring out the placement and then going back and widening some of the areas. The softness of the airbrush looks fine, but want to go in with a stipple brush. Now, before we do that, when you're airbrushing makeup, whether it be alcohol or water activated, then you want to follow up with a brush, you may find that your brush is going to pull up all that nice airbrush work you did. I highly recommend that if this is happening, you're going to want to take a film forming sealer and spray it over the area before you go in with that brush. Using a tiny little Delium stipple brush and add some color and texture to all the places that the dark Brune was airbrushed. Now for the blue, use Nova Captain Blue for this. If you're using this palette, be sure to work that alcohol into the cake until the paint is on the thicker side. This is going to give you more of a color payoff and save you from having to do multiple layers. Also making it a little blotchy at times because I just don't want smooth, perfect lines. Wanted to brighten the bottom of the glove, so went back in with some of that Jester yellow and painting it really splotchy. Grabbed some magic bust just to get some of that metallic shine back into the newer yellow areas. Now, if you really like the effect that the airbrush gave, but you're just starting out and you do not know how to do those color blends, be sure to go head over to the next video, and I'll see you there.